Well, hey, this is Michael from home. I had to do this video for you all who are unable to attend in person. Thought I'd send you a virtual review. We got the horses back there. They've got their fly masks on. This is home. This is clearly not my professional hat. This is my sit around home and enjoy the fire in the morning hat. But welcome to October in Kentucky. And I'll be chatting with you soon. But I thought I'd introduce myself and little homie. The ones that are in person don't get this. This is just for you. Talk soon.
Hello and welcome to the official CET Experience 2024. My session is going to be this. It's going to be what we did the last several years. I'm calling it Taming the Miscreant DWG. What to look for and how to fix it. I'll just put this on here also that if you need to reach out to me. How do I go to the next slide? I don't know, that one there. Yeah, you can reach out to me there. I don't do PowerPoint. I do live. Here's my contact information. That way I can just close this screen and be done with it. You can, of course, reach out to me anytime. You can get me at cadtrainerguy.com and it can go from there. Okay, close that up. Next. Literally an hour ago, on the day I'm recording this, about a month ahead of the session, I got an email from a customer that says, hey, when I bring in a drawing into CET, I got these the boxes are some of the doors, and it's saying this AEC wall. I've spoken about this before. It's a big country. I can't get to everybody, but here's what I've got on our handout today, folks. Let's be clear. You can't not check a drawing in AutoCAD before you go to CET. You could, but here it is, like whatever, 10:30, 11 o'clock, and the gal needs to get back to somebody like by noon. Opens up the CET drawing, goes, oh, what do I do? What do I do? And so that's what this drawing looks like right here. Okay, so this is that drawing. Additionally, to their credit, Configura has done better, okay, has made some improvements. Please notice this drawing is also 3D, and over here in CET, it is not 3D. So about probably 3 or 4 years ago, Joanna Jablonski, that many of you know, sent me a drawing, says, Michael, in her sweet accent, I got this drawing, and there were 3D walls. So 3 or 4 years ago, the AEC drawings came into CET with 3D walls, if I'm recalling it correctly. But we still have this issue. We still got these boxes for doors. And so I'll address how to fix that in a little bit. So that's one of the problems that you might have. This door, boxes for doors and stuff like that. What about this here? So here's another drawing that I got. And you get this and you go, oh, smack. Everything looks dandy. It looks absolutely dandy in 2D. Just looks like a champ. And then you get over here and you go, okay, that's in AutoCAD. Then you get this in CET. Okay, you can't fix it now, dude. You cannot fix it in CET. Or how about this one? Okay, this is another one I got. Like, okay, dandy. You got a little sticky out going on down at the bottom here, and you got all this walls. I did, to their credit, I had one of my customers just last week say, well, can't you opt not to show 3D stuff in the 3D view? And I go, you know what? Let me check that. Yeah, you're probably right. I shouldn't probably fuss and whine about that to people. Well, you come in here, you go down to CAD settings, 3D, I've got to think 3D view. Show in 3D view. Show 3D stuff in the 3D view. No. Well, look what it just did. It turns off show 2D entity. When you apply it, you got squat in 3D, dude. There's nothing there. So you can't, apparently, okay, without further research on my part, not show 3D stuff. And, CET is kind of a 3D product. So you got to clean it up, babe. You got to clean that thing up while it's in here. Okay. All right. And another thing with respect to the Revit feature, and of course I've done some presentations for some other things. Oops, it's wrong software. The Revit stuff, you ever roll up to a drawing that you maybe got from A&D firm or wherever, And you see it, it's called a block. Okay, get a block. Blocks are legit. Okay, and a really long name: folding chair upholstered seat and backwood backside stacking. Blah, blah. So that is pretty much probably coming from Revit, and the likelihood of those drawings are also they are very large. Is also that they're very large, and I talked about that last year actually at the user conference at this conference. Okay, so what I have, of course, we've come to expect. Come to Michael's training, get these tool palettes. So let me go over the tool palette real quickly. I have the ones that I've made available for this for CTX 2024 are the same buttons we had on 23, but I've added some things to it. So in other words, you can get rid of the 23 ones and take this one because it's the same buttons plus a few other things on it. So you should be it'll be the same unless you've added some things yourself to it. There's my email again. Okay, so let's take a look at this. I'll go down through some of these that you are so very familiar with. I'm going to start with the one that everybody knows. Oh, Michael, it's this one. You're using this again? Yep, because it works. Layers, everybody on the bus. So you get a drawing from Joe Bob Architect. You have no idea what they sent you. And so you click that button. It goes, boom. I'm going to thaw, turn on, and unlock every layer and do a zoom extents. Next, I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to just go out here and change these colors to something else. Okay, change it off a color from by layer to yellow in this case. Okay, did you know that if you take a drawing into CET that has a color, speaking of which, I'm going to go back to this one. If I double click on here and I go into layers and hit select, I just discovered that button like 3 weeks ago. Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah, I didn't even notice it. So I'm going to change all these colors to gray and click okie doke. And it's gonna go, you know what? I'll do it, but I ain't gonna do it to this stuff. Why? Because those colors were not set to by layer. So if you do not change, use this button to push button change to by layer, which puts it back to by layer. It ain't gonna look. You can't change the color in CET. It cannot happen. You have to have it by layer out here. Okay. Next, purge, push button purge, used frequently. You can click that button and boom, purge is done. It runs the command line version of purge. Okay, so all that stuff is done in there. You can hit that button as often as you want, but the purge dialog box doesn't come up because it's not using that command. It's not using the dialog box version command. Then delete duplicate objects, which many of you know as overkill. Okay, this pops up. Don't check the upper half, check everything at the bottom except for the indent, so the default is fine. You click okie doke, you hit function key F2 and it says, hi, I got rid of 34 duplicates and 4,300 and shut up all this other stuff. Okay. Then I was doing a training for Dan Benford, and one of the attendees there, Eric McKinney, a buddy of mine, says, Michael, can you put it all on one button? I go, dude, let's check it out. So there's a command in AutoCAD called UNDO, called undo, all 4 letters, okay, undo, not just U, but UNDO. One of the options is B for back, and when you do B for back, it says, ha, this will undo everything. Is that okay? It's kind of cute. It says, is that okay? And you press enter for yes, it goes all the way back. Okay, then, so I do that because I don't want to use this button that Eric challenged me to put together. I do also want to share this with you. This button was on the last couple of CET experiences, okay, but on this button now, what I did is I've got the big 4, I've included audit, and it goes to plan view. Okay, so if you hit that button when you're in 3D, it'll do the big 4, run an audit, and go to plan view. You just click OK, and now that's ready to go to CET. Okay, so that button is ready to go to CET. Next, layer walk. This is in your book. I am following the book. Okay. Right, layers on the current view bus. I wanted to share this with you too. Let's say you've zoomed in and you've turned off a few layers. Okay, I've turned this off, this off, this off, and this off, and I'm standing around in here. This drawing is so weird. Anyhow, but I need all the layers back on. So layers, everybody on the bus, zoom extenses. It does a zoom extents when it turns all the layers on. Okay. I made this other one last year. It says layers everybody on the current view. So it doesn't zoom extents, because you got a big drawing doing zoom extents is kind of annoying. It's like, put it back to where it was. So I hit the layers current view bus. It goes, okay, we'll just show this stuff here. Okay, show that layer right there. Okay. Zoom extenting just for fun, go into layer walk. You could do this on any drawing, but you want to turn on all the layers, because if some of them are turned off, you know that they're going to be white in here. So you can right click, select all, puts everybody on the bus there. If you didn't hit the button, but I don't need to take all this to CET. All this doesn't have to go to CET. So I'm going to click on 0, and then I just arrow down. Arrow down, arrow down. What do you got? 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 Okay, all this stuff is in here. Now, if you want to hold on to one, I was doing a training at, I believe it was Alfred Williams a few years back. Okay, one of the gals says, well, how do you make it not go back away? How do you hold on to something? Oh, very good, very good. So in your book, on your handout at the top, page 3, gold star tip. Right click on your selection in layer walk to hold it. So let's say I got this one and that one and that one, and I want to hold on to that. You right click, hold selection. The other, and then you can go on your merry way. You can arrow down, arrow down, arrow down. You go, oh, I want that one too. Well, what do? You can also double click. So the goal, guys, is to get this little itty bitty teeny tiny, could they have made it smaller, asterisk. The ones that have the asterisk beside them are the ones that are still enabled or left visible, right? Okay. So you take your good old time going down through there. Let's say then that you discover that these are the only layers you need in CET. You know, you do your due diligence, check it out. What do you got? And all the other stuff, it's like all this stuff, yeah, I don't need that. I don't need that, but I'd sure like to hold on to this stuff. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm click and dragging. Okay, so this is just a click drag to highlight this stuff. And so I'll set it up like this. Down here at the bottom, there also is a checkbox at the bottom of layer walk, says restore on exit. If I were to check that box and then hit close, it would go back to showing me everything. It would go back to what it was when I first opened layer walk. Okay, so that checkbox is important. If you're doing layer walk, you go, oh, I like this, then you don't check the box. And another thing, I just thought of this, and this is what I do in training when I do the training with y'all. Look, if this drawing's from like a year ago, and so now Children's Hospital, the bank, whatever, says, oh, we're going to do a reconfig, and you say, you know what, I'm going to do the reconfig in CET. Turn on your cap layer, your cap panel layers, right, or whatever panel system, you know, project matrix, whatever, and you do that, and then you click close, and that particular, oops, we didn't do his phone. Like that's never happened to me before. When this box comes up, you can check the box down at the bottom. It says shut up. Okay, and then click continue. Okay, but the idea is you can take this then into CET and put your respective panel systems over the top of these layers. It lets you, you know, turn those layers on. Okay, so that was layer walk. Okay, now push button layer select single pick. I'm going to turn everything back on here. Okay, and let's say that, you know what, I don't need to see the columns, I don't need to see the bubbles, I don't need to see the phones. So layer delete single pick. Pick this button, say shut up, right click, go lay down, right click, don't need 1989 computer on the systems, don't need a phone. Who puts a phone in there? Okay, so you start deleting things, and yet some of you have been around the AutoCAD farm long enough to know that there are sometimes layers with nothing on them. Okay, so layer delete by name. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put it in a different context. This drawing, okay, Technion drawing actually, brings in, and we've all seen this. Okay, we've all seen this. I've had people reach out to me, and I'm going to cover the different aspect on this here before we're done today. I don't need to see the tags. I don't need to see the tags. And so let's say by virtue of layer walk, okay, by virtue of layer walk, I've meandered my way through here. What do you got? What do you got? What do you got? And it turns out down here, fern seeding text is the layer that the tags are on. Now I can't delete fern seeding text, okay, simply because it's then attached to the rest of the pieces, right? It's got everything else. So I'm going to put everybody back on, okay? and I'm going to change the layer to be something else because you can't delete the current layer. And now I'm going to do layer delete by name. So understand this is a drawing that we did in CET that was exported, comes into AutoCAD with these layers. And I don't need that one. So I did layer delete by name. Shows you the layers in here. It says delete layers. You pick this, you click OK, and it says, are you sure? You go, uh-huh. Tag's gone. Tag's gone. So yeah, all the layers that come in from CET are fair game for this layer delete by name. Okay. Another one, going to go over here to Cesar's drawing. My buddy from California there in the Bay Area. And he sent me this a few years back. I go, brother, I'm going to use this in training because look at this. This is the one I was showing you before. It's like, okay, you got this coming into the drawing. Yeah, you might want to clean that up, sport. So over here, what I'm going to do off of our default cleanup objects, I'm going to run the big four first, and I'll show you why. So anytime y'all get a drawing, I want you to promise me whenever you get a drawing, okay, you're going to run the big four. Okay, because that starts off, now you've got to, it's running clean. Because when I do quick select for hatches, solids, 3D faces, and regions, all of which I'm going to try to get to in the next 40 minutes, won't, but I'll give it a shot. I want to find the object type that's a hatch. And please notice that if the color is equal to by layer, which it is by virtue of that button, I just choose what I want to get rid of and click OK. And I click OK and it raises its hand. It says, here's all the hatches, delete. These red boxes where the columns are, okay, those are actually solids, what they call solids. It's an old-timey AutoCAD component, object type. So I go in there, delete solid. Colors equal by layer. Yep, click OK. They light up and you hit delete. Oh, Michael, is this drawing still there? Oh, yes, it is most assuredly still there. Okay. So those are some other things that you will want to use. I'm going to go back to our floor plan sample because what we decided, okay, is I don't need it all. I mean, I can do my layer walk and I can hold the selection stuff, but I don't need 12 layers to make this floor plan. So I'm going to go to merge layers and I'm going to set EB core double, okay, to be current. Do you know In-N-Out was coming to Nashville? What? Joshua told me that. Sidebar. So the target layer is going to be EB core. Then I'm going to grab EBLF, hold down my shift key and grab ES column. So whatever, just select multiples and hold down control and deselect my header and the door layer. And then this is in your book. Okay, this is on the top of page 4. Okay, 4. No, top of page. Where's layer merge? To merge layers. Okay, you got to do your selection. Okay, so you select your layers. Then you right click merge selected layers to, and it says, which layers that you did not select do you want to merge onto EB core? I go EB core, and click okie doke, and it says, are you sure? Merged onto EB core. You go okay, and it goes squeeze, and so now you will find an amazingly brief collection of layers. And so now if I go out to layer walk, I just grab the ease. There you go. That's what I'm taking. Oh, and also I'm going to turn on this one here because I was talking about that before, and then I click close. Okay. All right. This can then go to, you can W block that out and take that to CET. Okay, I want to move on to a few other things, okay? That is something that many of you have had with my training before. You've seen that. For those of you that are new to that, there you be. The other tab, I'm doing more of a coverage on the tabs than I did last year. I didn't cover all the tabs, I just covered one, so I did want to get into this. The other thing, of course, as I mentioned going in, I think I'm doing this in LT. Okay, and a little bit more about LT is on the latter pages of this handout. I'm not probably going to touch it going through, but you can read about it. It's cheaper. LT is cheaper. So because you do have a 3D environment in LT, this low southeast view will work in LT. You also have, now I'll go back to UCS World Plan, grapefruit on a plate. If you didn't want that southeast view, you click here. Let's say that this round circle here is an upside down grapefruit on a round plate. Please notice when I get to the top of the grapefruit, it's looking down on top. Get around where the grapefruit hits the plate, your worm's eye view right about like yay. Okay, and you get flat there. There's going to be a time when that is going to be important here shortly. Select similar. I'm going to cover in another context. Okay, line to object. I got a drawing from Heather in Cincinnati that I'm going to go up and see here in a minute. Yeah, this is it. Okay, next week for some little advanced CET training for him. But so here's this drawing that we get. We still have to use this sometimes, right? You got to put stuff in so you can take it to AutoCAD, to CET. I need this wall to be horizontal. I have no fat clue what the angle is on that. It's some architectural masterpiece, whatever. And so this UCS align to object, UCS stands for user coordinate system. I'm going to hover on this very obvious line. Okay. Notice when I hover on the left side of that line, the way this button works is it, wherever your finger is, it finds the nearest endpoint. Okay. Puts 0, 0 at that endpoint and then points the x-axis at the other end. Now, if that's the case, look what happens when I go over to this side. Finds the nearest point to my cursor, points the other end of the x-axis down this way. So it all depends on whether you're on the north side, one side, or the other. That said, the last thing that this button will do is it will take the x-axis where it is now and make it horizontal on the screen. What? If I pick there, that line is now horizontal on the screen because that was my x-axis. You with me? Okay. So what if I come over here and I pick on this line? All right, so I'm going to align to object. Okay, get on up here, get close to here. 0, 0 goes to the endpoint closest to where my cursor is. The other end of the x-axis points at the opposite corner endpoint of that line that I'm on. And then it takes X and says, you be horizontal in this view. Click. And there she be. I know this is wicked nasty cool. I know it. And I've got sample drawings. You wouldn't believe what I've got on this one. Anyhow, so then you do your thing. Then you want to put Humpty Dumpty back on the wall. You go to UCS World Plan, and she puts her right back where she started. Okay, so that's been on there for a while. As far as this other one, okay, so I'm going to go back to here. So this drawing, as I said, came from CET. I didn't notice this until like, I don't know, a couple years ago. Look at the default units that are the CET resulting drawing. For some reason, the developers at Configura, when they turned your CET drawing into a DWG, didn't think for a moment that maybe you'd want architectural units. Oh, let's just give them decimal units because that's what we use as engineers. No, sport, no. Not that you can't come down here and click this and change it to architectural, but I made a button. Units to architectural. Okay, it's architectural. So now you can move it by 3 feet or 7 feet or whatever you're going to do, and I'm going to do that later. Okay, so there's that button on there. The other one that I use on here, I go back to Cesar's drawing in our 3D. Okay, so I'll go back to low southeast view. These used to be 2 separate buttons, thickness 0 and elevation 0. I thought, well, dude, just put them together. So you click that and go smash. Okay, so now that doesn't cure all of the ills, but that'll do many of them. I'm going to go down here, grapefruit on a plate. So here's where this actually comes into play pretty nicely. I get to here, and you go, well, what about these? And I go, well, all right. So I'm going to select this. The answer to this one comes a little bit later in the book. You select it, you right click, you go down to properties. Hi, we start at any number of Z locations. No, Tiger, you got to be at 0, dude. Okay, sorry, Mr. Beall. And we end all over the map. Yeah, no, your NZ has to be 0 as well. Okay, really sorry. And that flattens it out. That just mashes it. Okay. Then you go to UCS World Plan, and that child is ready to go to CET. So I want to back the truck up a second. Let's go back to our floor plan sample. How do I get this in CET? Once I've cleaned this up, and I didn't cover it. It was the last button on the bottom of the cleanup tab, right? So let's go back into here. W block lets me create a DWG of the objects that I select. So I'm going to click browse down here. I'm going to get my CAD for CET base plan. Then I'm going to select objects, select what I want to turn into a drawing, and I'm not going to change the base point. I'm going to leave it at 0, 0, okay, because I've already done it. It's going to ask me if I want to replace it. But the kind of the comment I wanted to make here was I don't know that I explicitly showed you how to bring this in. So I'm going to begin a new drawing here and click there, let it know it's talking to you, and put 0. My 0 point, I have hotkey to 0. The hotkeys are, towards the end of this handout. I for import, going to get my CAD for CET base plan. Now this dialog box, the CAD settings dialog box, okay, I think embed CAD file and drawing is a good idea, but I did want to mention here, let's go up to the page 7. What I've discovered is there have been errors that have been reported. How's my time? Okay, got another 25. Okay. Errors have been reported if you embed the CAD file and you're using a OneDrive. So maybe you don't embed the CAD file. There have been path and folder and file name issues, I think. I don't know what the solution is on there. Jason might. But anyhow, that's what the embed CAD file. You might think about that. I check all the other boxes though. 2D boxes, the curve deviation has to do with the curvature of the 2D geometry when it comes in from AutoCAD. You want it smooth as you can have it. I then had somebody at a dealership recently that said, you know what, you don't have to have 3D come in. I go, well, actually, yeah, you do, and we'll see this here in a second. So I'm going to check that box. I check them all, and then I just do insert, and it comes in, sets you down, and there's your insert. Now let me address that thing regarding showing the 3D. So right now I'm seeing it in the 3D view of CET, right? Then the other thing is, well, I want to change the color, let's say, I don't know, of the panels. How do I open CAD settings back up again? There's a couple of ways of doing it. You could either double click on the drawing or on that Tools tab, okay, over here under Tools, you have over here about halfway down, you have the DWG collection. You have what I call this little soundboard sliders. So you click on that and that opens up CAD settings. Oh, that's cool. Then Configura says, well, nobody knows where that is, so we'll give them a button here. So now you have this new import. So there was an update to the 15.0 not long ago, and so they gave us an import button. Or you could double click on a silly thing and double click on the drawing, and that'll open it up as well. Okay, so I want to let you know there were a few ways of getting in there. What I usually do for my imports, I just check them all. And if there's something that I need to uncheck for some reason, I'll uncheck it. But here's the thing, if you double click on it to get this CAD settings back up, here's what happens. If you got 3D sitting in out there in the 3D view, you go, oh, so this is 3D CAD stuff. Show in the 3D view, no. And then when you apply it, honey, you lose everything, dude. Everything's gone. You get nothing of your drawing. So the comment was, oh, Michael, we don't have to clean up the 3D because I just won't show the 3D stuff in the 3D view. I go, well, that's biting your nose off, spite your face, because you're getting jack at that point. Anyhow, that's what I discovered too just recently. Okay, so those are my settings I think you should have for that one. Then if you did make changes, as I have up here, default CAD import, I'm going to, because by default, you're going to have floor plan, and then you come in and you check all these boxes. And so floor plan is going to say modified up here. I'll do save settings, and I'll just call this CET X24 settings. Okay. And so that comes up here, and that's what you can choose. You choose that, and that will check all the boxes. So you just saved the condition of the boxes in there. Okay, that's all that amounted to there. Yeah, you can discard that. Cool. Next, page 8. Yeah, so we know we've seen over there in CET. You get that really weird one. But let's take a look at that one. Okay, so I'm going to come back into here. Where'd that one go? Not that one. Not that one. What did I wind up closing it? I might have. Let me go back up and open that. Unprepared, Michael. You were unprepared on this. Okay, so let's go back into here. Okay, so I would start with the big 4. Okay, when you get, and I don't know, who knows where this came from? Probably AutoCAD architecture. Okay, everybody on the bus, change by layer, just run the big 4 on this one. So let's just go that way. Run that one, pretty straightforward. Click Okie doke. I think we went back over this. Get your quick select hatches on this one and delete those ones. Get your 3D, because what I wanted to do was throw this at you. I'll get to thickness 0 and elevation 0. When you roll across a block and the name is legit, it doesn't have an asterisk in front of it. That's why I added the select similar button on here. That's kind of a truth detector. It's like, what truly is in this drawing? Do you have blocks that I can use select similar on? So you select similar, pick this item, enter, goes, hey, here's all my kin. Okay, that's great. That's a win. That's a win, because now I got to get this down to 2D, right? Can I use my cool buttons in the block editor? So I'm double clicking on the block in AutoCAD, goes into the block editor. I can use my 3D buttons in here. Did I mention this is LT? Okay. Then I can go out there and I can find my quick select for hatches and solids, or I can just click on the thing and delete it. Okay, either one will do it. But then I could get my thickness 0, elevation 0, mash it. There you go. So you make edits in the block editor, and then when you close the block editor, just like the block editor in CET, it'll say, "Ha, do you want to save your changes and update your kin?" You go, yeah, please. And look, all these other ones were dropped down. So you do that to the remainder of them. Okay. Now let's see what happens when we take this back out to CET. It's pretty straightforward. I'll do a save as here. Okay. And I'll call this CETX 2024 mashed with Shauna's. All right. Then go back out here, do a new drawing. I'm doing Control N for new, and 0 for my 0 point, and I for my import, and get my mashed one. Then I'll set this to CTX 2024 settings and insert, and boom, there you go. Whole lot better than it was when we did it the first time. And obviously you have things to do in that. But that personally is what I would do if your consideration, what you're looking for, and what I would recommend doing. Okay. If you find multiple references in that 3D block, open her up in the block editor and mash it and do your thing in the editors, because those work in the editor. So that is all doable in there. Now, here's the issue also, y'all. This drawing here, I'm going to go ahead and close that one. Try to clean the deck as I'm going through here. And we did that one too. I might leave that up. Anyhow, so this here, if you'll remember, this was 3D. And when we took it into CET, okay, when we took it into CET, the 3D was not there, but you had the wonky looking doors. Okay, so you had that door issue that we were looking at. So this is this one. Yeah, that one. Okay, so we have this doors and the AEC walls. How do you fix this? Okay. Oh, that was 3D faces. Okay, here's what you don't want to do. Sorry, it went a different direction here. The reason you might have, and let me see if I can find this. This drawing here, okay, this drawing here is that drawing there. Here, dude. That's been exploded. What? See this? See your roll overhead says 3D face? It's this drawing here that someone had that is 3D, that is AEC objects that have been exploded. So don't explode AEC objects. If you do, then you get this 3D face thing. Now I'm going to talk about the AEC in a second. How to fix this one. So let's look at the worst case scenario, this one here. Okay, this is exploded AEC walls. Steps. Run the big 4. Okay, copy that. So I'm going to go in here, run the big 4 down the thing. The thing is, and while that's happening, if you ever encounter 3D face, it will show. If I were to take that into CET, it would not be flat in 3D. That would be, those walls would be all poppy up. Okay, not that there's anything wrong with that, but you probably don't want it. 3D faces are going to come from most assuredly from exploded AEC walls. They could be generated otherwise, but I just discovered that here as I was preparing for this conference. I thought that's where they're getting these stupid 3D faces. Someone's gone out and said, oh, well, if you explode one of those AEC walls, you can get these faces and you can fiddle with them. No, you really can't. So here we go. Stick to the point, Michael. Here's our steps. So this is a drawing that we're going to run this on. Use quick select and select 3D face. So quick select for hatches and solids. Up here, 3D face, light it up. We're here. Thank you so much. Then launch region. So you type region. Prompt says select objects. You type P for the previous selection set, enter, and they raise their hand again. You press enter, you go, thank you so much. Poof, all y'all are regions. And it's going to look a little weird here in a second. Okay. Then, okay, use your quick select again and select region. So we're going to go out here. I know that's what regions look like now. So quick select here. Going to come up here and get region. Raise your hands. Hi, here we are. Okay. Now, you can't explode 3D faces, but you can explode regions. Why do we want to explode? Because we want to drop it down. We want to do that height 0, thickness 0, elevation 0 thing. Okay. So when the regions are selected, you type X, enter for explode, and they all get exploded. And then when you hover on one, what you discover, it is now simply Joe Bob lines. Now that you've got her down to lines, you can go to YouTube. I know this, I did a little research on this. I'm just trying to help you out here, how to fix this goobers that you get. Thickness 0, elevation 0. Thank you so much. That's a start. Then I'm going to get a worm's eye view with the grapefruit. Okay. Oh, yay. I did this the other day on a Solomon Coil presentation. I grabbed all of them and it didn't go anywhere. It's like, no, I can't do it all at once. So I'm just going to pick these lines, like a third of them. Okay. Go into properties, right click properties. We saw this before. Okay. Start Z is 0. No, sport, you don't get to do that. And tab. And then I'm going to come down here to end Z is varies. And so I want that to 0. So yeah, you do want them 0 on both of them. And then just do section by section. Okay. And that imminently will get her down to, you get her down to 2D. And then you take this into CET and you're on your merry way. Okay. This is why you can't not make a pit stop at AutoCAD, y'all. Okay. I might call that next year's going to be AutoCAD pit stop, what to watch for. Okay. There's that stuff. Okay. Top page 9. So about those stupid doors I started in the first 2 minutes. It's about this. What about this? Okay. All right. So let's go back to that drawing. How to fix this. First of all, what you need to do, you got to be in plan view. Otherwise, this dog doesn't hunt. Okay, you got to do it this way. You got to start with that. And then, of course, launch the big 4. So always start with the big 4 on here. So here's what we're going to find. Okay. If you import those, you're going to get your squares. Oh, and also that text that says, oh, this is, remember that text says this is an AEC wall. You can't turn that text off. I looked at that too. It's not a layer that's in your CET drawing that's turn offable. Exploded AEC walls are converted into regions. That was just the last 3 minutes. Okay, so don't explode them in so much as it's your responsibility. Don't do it. I posted this on Design Pop, and Alexander put this up here, what I'm about to share with you, this AEC export to AutoCAD thing. And somebody reached out to her, says, I don't know what happened to the drawing. What, I did this, and then what's it do? Just want to let you know, go into this. This procedure creates a separate DWG. It's a brand spanking new drawing that you're going to be able to then take into CET, and it looks wonderful. It looks just dandy. Okay, and like I said earlier, I got an hour ago, I got this email about the exact same thing we're about to talk about. Here we go. Click okie doke. So that's what the big 4 is talking about too. It's like, oh snap, I don't know that I wanted to take all that stuff in there. So maybe I'd delete duplicate objects, single pick. We did this earlier. Okay, I think. and I did this video over again. But you get down to what you want. But now here we go. So I'm going to go to this AEC PDF, our third tab. The importing, the PDF bits at the top, the push button XREF bits. I did that last year. I'm going to go into this other one that takes a little bit longer here. Push button export AEC to CAD. Many of you know this also as export to AutoCAD. I recall hearing from somebody many years ago. They says, "Oh, there's like 3 things you can type," but I put it on a button. Just click that button, and here's what happens. Watch the bottom prompt line, and I'll have this also in the book. When you push that button, okay, follow the prompts. You are now asked to enter a file name, and I recommend typing P so you can give it a prefix, okay? So I'm going to type P, enter. It says, how? What do you want to call this? I'm going to say this is CTX 24-, okay? And I press enter. Comes back, says, all right. And it's in the angle widget bracket, so it says enter for file name, so I'll press enter for that one. Okay, then it says, all right, I'm going to call it CETX24-CETX24 original AEC wall. Okay, and notice it's got your path, so don't ask me where is it going. Well, it tells you right there. Okay, it's going out to the same folder. Now I got to remember it's going into originals. And you press enter to accept that path name. Pow. Going to go on out to and make that drawing. Okay, then, okay, so I put in fix. This one I did CTX. Press enter when it says file name. Export a file name. You press enter for that one. The name of the new drawing will be with your prefix is in little brackets. Okay. Open the fixed drawing. Okay, so now I'm going to go up to open. Yeah, these steps are important. I gommed this up earlier this week when I was doing my Solomon coil thing. So where's my date? There it is. Okay, so there's my prefix, double. Okay, this opens up. That is the name up here across the top. Okay, looks the same. It looks the same. I know. But then what I need to do, is I need to run the big 4 on this one. Now I didn't have that. Oh yeah, I did. Run the big 4 and audit. Okay, so I'm going to run the big 4 and audit. Does its thing, comes back much quicker because it's a much smaller file size. Then what I forgot to do for my Solomon coil thing is to save this drawing. So I'm going to save it. Okay, so you made a new one, you run the big 4 on the new one, you save it. Okay. Oh, and look at what I have here in the middle of page 9 over on the side. The original drawing was nearly 8.5 meg. This one, 400K. Seriously? Yeah, that's like a 5% reduction. I did that drawing from an hour ago. It went down 50%. It went from like 4 meg to 2 meg. So it's huge. It's really a big saver, time saver. All right, let's take this critter into CET. Okay, let's wrap this one up. So I'm going to do Control N for new, do my 0 point, do my 0 point there, do my I for import, get this one, letter down, insert it, Z, let's go to 2D here, full on 2D. Okay. Oh yeah, it's got the 3D in it. You know, if there were 3D, it's in there. Okay, but now here's the thing. Double click. First of all, doors, y'all. You got doors. Okay, no wall texty things. I'm going to double click on the title. Double click on the wall. Double to open up CAD settings. Then I'm going to go to layers. Here's my new favorite button. Select all. Then I'm going to click the color swatch. Then I'm going to click a color. Then I'm going to click OK. Then I'm going to go, what? And you can change the color of all the layers. If you don't run it through the AutoCAD pick stop, you're going to have a tough time pulling that off, y'all. Okay? You with me? That's really cool, Michael. I know. But wait, there's more. I'm not done with you yet. Almost. Okay. So we get these drawings that are metric. So this is from, I think this is Harper, Andrew World. I don't know. Andrew World, I guess. You go up there and you measure it. And so you get this from their website, whoever's website. Oh, look, I got a drawing. And you measure, it says 585, I can only presume inches across there. Well, in fact, it's metric. And so if I type UN for units, it says, hi, this is all in millimeters. And you go, well, that's not going to do my drawing any good at all. So I was doing this thing over at OFS. I was over talking to Steve Dunn and his buddy, his associate there that works on him. And one of the things that we were looking at was, is there a way, and he and I kind of sussed this out. There's a DWG units thing that I've covered in the past, but then, and I apologize to the gentleman over at OFS, I forgot his name, SharpCat. And so we made a button. So in here, the button, if you look at the underbelly of the button, there's a lot of stuff going on. Okay, there's units and things in here. Here we go. You ready? So that was 500 and something. You just pick the button. What? Pick it. That's one of my happiest new buttons. What? I know. So you go and measure. You go, okay, well, so how much is it from here to here? It's about 24 inches. What? So that's what I have at the bottom of page 9. I went out there and measured it. It's like 630 out to out. And then you just click the stupid button. Okay. And so it's the factor. I mean, it's down to frog hair. Okay. So it's pretty tight. Anyhow, I thought that was pretty fun. We don't get them all the time, but it's pretty frustrating when you open that up and it's like, oh, shoot, this is metric. One button. You don't have to type squat. I want to open up something else. Where am I in the book? Right. So if you opt to get 3D, and I'm going to hit my units to architectural. So I'm going to change it. Ever notice that it comes in, it's decimal? Did I mention that? Okay. I just hit the button, units to architectural. If I get a worm's eye view here, okay, right here, let's first of all, let's look at the top here. So you got 3D stuff on top of your 2D stuff. So I'm going to get my worm's eye view, grapefruit on a plate, like yay. Okay, cool. Then I'm going to launch move and select just the stuff. I mean, skim it, just grab the stuff at the top and press enter. Prompt says specify base point or displacement. You ever wonder what that displacement is? Okay, at that prompt, don't specify a base point. Just type a decent distance. So 0 in X, I'm going to move it 20 feet north, okay, in Y. So 0, 20 feet. You got to make sure it's architectural, otherwise a foot sign doesn't mean anything. Comma 0. Enter, enter. Then I go back up here. Oh, sorry. Get my grapefruit back up here. It's 20 feet off. So now you got your 2D and your 3D. 2D and 3D. So that was a real quick one. If you do, because by default they sit on top of each other, right? So it lands on top of each other, and you don't want to be doing that. The LT scale, there's LTS. You've seen that before, maybe a little bit. I did want to talk about ATT strip. This is what I'm going to end you with, okay? This, okay, I had 24. I can have how many more? Okay, I think I get some more money, more time. Okay. I had a call the other day that says, hey, the customer, literally, okay, thank you for the drawing, but can you just get rid of the text on the furniture? This was really, really, truly something that happened. ATT strip, there are many within the sound of my voice that I've trained before on AutoCAD and CAP over the last years, right? And you're going, yeah, there was that ATT strip routine that will take off any text of your CAP tags. So I'm going to take a real quick second here and see if I can find a little bit more on here. Is that the one? Where's the one that had, I had more attribute bits in. Oh, there's one. Yeah, that's good. This is a good one. Okay. Yeah, got attributes? Yeah. So you've got panel builder stuff or whatever. Okay, here we go. You're going to love this one. Because I just talked to Alexander earlier this morning, and we were talking about this very thing. ATT strip is a .vlx. It's a VLX file that I have made available to this audience in addition to the tool palettes. I'll make Lindsay has that. If you do not get that, please reach out to me. First, make sure the folder where you save it is added to the trusted locations in options, and it does work in AutoCAD LT and higher. So in AutoCAD, if you type OP enter, okay, you get this. You can have your support file search path up here under files. You hit the plus sign, and then you go to add, then you go to browse, and you choose the folder where in your heart you know that file is. Okay, so I'm going to go into that one. Then now you won't see it in here. You just need to have that folder. So you click open. Then you can click OK from here. You need not apply because when you click OK, it'll come out. If it says something about a read only, click OK and move on. Okay, so you do that one. Next, I did support file search path. My fault. Let's go back into here and trusted locations, add browse, this one. There you go. And when you click open, it's going to bonk you like that way, and you click continue. You should have it in both. Put it in both spots. Support file and trusted. Click OK. This is LT as well. Then, after saving that file, okay, we did the locations. Check. Did that. After you save those files, type AP, okay. You click contents down here at the bottom. Then you click add. Then you take your face into the folder where you have it. Okay, so you grab your ATT strip.vlx and you click open. Okay, all right, I know it's already there. Once it's in there, you click close out of the little box and close out of the big box. Please notice, to make this work, you will need to close and relaunch AutoCAD. In light of the brief time we have together, I'm not going to do that because I know it's going to work. Then open the drawing with the attributes. That would be this one. Then type ATT strip, attribute strip. I didn't come up with this. I got this years and years ago. Enter. You can press enter. You can type all for everything, or you can say, well, just get rid of the attributes here. Okay, no attributes, dude. There's no more attributes. How about we do ATT strip again and say all, everybody and their dog. Okay, all of them are gone, except the ones that might be text in the drawing, okay, in the block. This block, that text right there is physical text that's burned into the PED, okay. This is text that's physically burned into, okay, the block itself. Anything that's an attribute, though, off the deck, okay. Is that neat, right? Yeah, so that's kind of fun. Let's see, what else have we got? I got a couple minutes. LT, I did a little overview on LT. AutoCAD full version, $2,000 a year. LT, $500 a year. Save yourself some coin and get half of your designers some LT. Little views on that one. These are things that when you do go into LT, use LT, you might see this proxy information dialog box. Here are your 3 variables. You'll want to set to those respective values, and your LT, you'll never see that box again. Okay. There's your round trip of a drawing, what we just did at the bottom, page 15 here in 16. There's your keyboard shortcuts, okay? You go into keyboard shortcuts in CET, you go up to your file menu, and for some squirrel bait reason, your keyboard shortcuts are at the very bottom over there on the side. I know. And then go through there and set up your keyboard shortcuts accordingly. There are the instructions on bringing in your tool palette, and you then have your hieroglyphic IDCEC little, I call it hieroglyphic so many times I forgot what it's called. Anyhow, your crypto code. For your credit, there's also one over here for product feedback. If you want to hold your phone up to that right this moment, if you're not listening to this on your phone, which would be kind of creepy. How can you do that at the same time? Anyhow, okay, that's it. Okay, had a great time with you. Wish you would be with us next time, maybe next time. And that's it. I hate doing virtual training, all I can do is hang up on you. No, I don't hate it. I love being able to share this with you. Okay. Love y'all. You take care. Call me. See ya. Bye-bye.